So right now we're in Times Square, and behind me, this is the M42 bus. They say it is the slowest bus in America, averaging about 5 miles an hour. So New York says they have a plan to make this bus much faster and also not have the passengers pay 1 cent to make it happen. How are they going to do that? Well, I recently went to a city that's already done it to see for myself. And how do you pronounce the city that we're in?
Worcester.
Worcester.
Not Worcester.
No,
Not
Worcester. No, sir. Worcester.
Welcome to Worcester, Massachusetts on this frigid and blustery January morning. Population 207,000 and growing. The Regional Transit Authority's been operating these city buses fare-free since March of 2020. Does it save you some money?
Yeah, it does. It really helps.
That's real money in people's pockets. But Worcester isn't alone. Across the country, from Kansas City to Richmond, Northern Virginia, and even parts of Boston, cities have experimented with fare-free buses, some temporarily, some permanently. But none of them come close to the scale of the New York City bus system, which is so elaborate, every borough has its own bus map.
This is New York City. Nothing's free in New York City.
But it can't be just about the money. After all, New York is one of the wealthiest cities in the world. And after riding the buses here in Worcester, it became clear money is an obstacle, but there's also something more complex at play.
All right, where are we headed right now?
Right now, we're going straight up Lincoln Street on bus 26.
On this Thursday, Rick Generis is headed to his job at Saint-Gobain, a major abrasives manufacturer in the city. Before hopping off, he gave me some directions. Get off at the McDonald's, he said, cross the street, and then catch the number 26 bus back downtown.
All right, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
This just so happened to be one of the coldest mornings of the year. I'm talking single-digit wind chills and bone-chilling wind.
Never been so happy to see a McDonald's in my life.
At the McDonald's, I had just enough time for a quick lunch before hopping back on board.
So I checked Apple Maps and said the bus coming at 11:21. Walked out of the McDonald's, and sure enough, it arrived right on time.
Many of these riders, like Mateo, live car-free.
How much money is this saving you?
Oh, it's a lot. I can tell you that because every time we gotta call over, it's like 10, 20 bucks or a text, you know.
Right, exactly.
So like I say, right now I'm going to a meeting. I was gonna take a cab there, so it'll be 10 bucks, and then on the 10th on the way back, I go to meetings every day twice.
Exactly.
So that's like 40 bucks a day.
Data actually shows that 2/3 of the WRTA's 5 million annual riders live at or below the federal poverty line.
So this is really benefiting people who need it most.
Yes, absolutely.
That's Paul Matthews. He's the executive director and CEO of the nonpartisan Worcester Regional Research Bureau. They've been studying this exact issue for years.
We're almost 6 years in.
Yeah.
What's the result so far?
And in fact, the ridership has almost doubled from pre-pandemic levels.
Doubled?
Yes. During the pandemic, probably for reasons similar to New York's, the decision was made by the advisory board for the RTA to cease collecting fares.
Remember, New York did the same thing during COVID, but it only lasted about 5 months. In Worcester, federal COVID stimulus money initially paid for the difference, but in 2022, Massachusetts voters passed an amendment imposing a 4% surtax on millionaires to fund public education and transportation. Taxing millionaires? Where have we heard that before?
Having the top 1% of New York City, who are making more than $1 million a year, having them pay 2% more for an economic agenda that would transform every New Yorker's life, including their own, is something that is worthwhile.
It sounds like this is the model that New York is looking at.
I mean, I think so. Now, that being said, we only have a bus system, as you pointed out earlier. I mean, your system's considerably more complicated.
That might be putting it mildly. Worcester's transit system is smaller, locally controlled, and relatively inexpensive. At about 1/40th the population of NYC, Worcester only needs about $5 million a year to replace fare revenue. New York is the opposite, a massive system run by the state where data shows fare revenue has historically made up a larger portion of funding, and it needs an estimated $800 million to go fare-free.
Please exit through the rear door.
Well, buses themselves are not free. Fuel is not free. The drivers of the buses don't work for free. So these things cost money.
Z. Salinas is president and CEO of the Empire Center for Public Policy, a nonpartisan fiscal watchdog, long critical of how the MTA uses the significant tax revenue it already collects.
$600 to $800 million of how much this would cost. This is actually less than MTA spends on overtime.
The state of the state of New York is strong.
If it happens, it won't be soon. Governor Kathy Hochul's latest budget proposal makes no mention of funding Mamdani's free bus plan, yet he remains publicly optimistic.
Are free buses going to happen in New York City? Can you afford to do that?
I continue to believe in the importance of making buses free, and that's something that we will deliver by the time that I'm done being the mayor.
Meanwhile, back on the notoriously slow M42.
What do you think about this plan to make the buses free? You know, Mamdani wants to do fast and free buses. How do you feel about that?
I think that's a great idea. If everything comes together and he makes it work, then that's great.
But will it actually happen?
That'll never happen.
You don't think so?
City's too greedy for money.
Who knows? Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah. I hope so.
I think it's a possibility.
Yeah?
I don't think it's a good idea.
It's hard to, I guess, experiment in a big city like New York, but if it works, other cities will follow. And I'm from Chicago, so if the buses were faster there, it'd be great.
Back in Worcester, Joshua Rickman, the man running the transit system, is a big fan.
Just overall, has this been a success?
I would say in terms of our ridership levels, in terms of attracting people to the service, absolutely it's been a success.
What's been the impact of the last 6 years?
I think the big thing for WRTA has been a significant increase in ridership. We surpassed 5 million riders last year on both our fixed route and our demand response ADA services. So that was a huge increase.
There we go. We're back.
They saw a huge bump in ridership, all while putting money back in the pockets of working people who need it most.
It's serving a critical need in the community. It's serving a critical audience, many of whom could not afford to ride the bus if, in fact, there was fare box collection going on.
So from riding the buses, talking to riders, looking at the numbers, it's clear that fare-free buses can work. But the question here really isn't about money, it's about who's in charge. Because in Worcester, decisions are simple, they're local, they're accountable. In New York, it's more political, layered, controlled by the state. So again, the question isn't about money, it's about if there's the political will to actually make it happen. Because we know the money can be found, the model does exist. The only thing missing is consensus to take action.